Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're joining from. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar. We appreciate you carving out your time this afternoon or morning for you and spending a little bit of time with ActiGraph. Um, we welcome you from Pensacola, Florida, where it's nice and sunny here and mid 70s today. So hope you're having the same weather we are today. My name is Jeremy Wyatt, and I'll be presenting today's webinar, which is entitled Study Admin plus ActiLife Simplifying Data Capture. And so we're going to talk a little bit about logistics today and how to properly get your data, how to efficiently get your data, and talk about some secrets and keys to doing that using some of our new tools that we have made available. And so we'll go ahead and get started. And you should be seeing my screen, my presentation screen. So if you're hearing my voice but not seeing the screen, somebody let me know. So just a little bit of housekeeping. The webinar controls are available on your desktop. There's a small application running that will allow you to expand it to ask questions. And so you can click expand for that little chat window, and you can use that chat window to send over questions. And I'll do my best during the webinar to pause and address as many of those questions as possible. I may not get to all of them, but if I do, or if I don't, I'll be sure and respond to those that I miss via email. So please make sure if you have questions or any type of question, please don't hesitate to ask it. So today's topic, we're going to discuss specifically the collection of raw high-resolution activity monitoring data using our study admin system. That's a mouthful, and because of that, I've decided to put a few screens dedicated to making sure we're all on the same page, and so I'll do that just to make sure we all understand what we're talking about. As I'll discuss in the next couple of slides here, our devices are capable of collecting very high resolution accelerometer data, which is represented by that middle graph there, as well as summarized epoch level data, represented by the graph on the right, which is essentially integrated area under a curve. Now, for many of you, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you see these two graphs, but for some of you, I want to clarify, and so we'll do that. Recently, last week, we provided an email to our users, and that email contained in it a link to a presentation similar to the one that I'm showing on this slide. The title of that presentation was Web-Based Logistics for Collecting Physical Activity Monitor Data. And so that particular presentation is very helpful in providing some context and background and really review material for what I'm going to cover today. And so that web link is available here. You can go to that URL and you will see that presentation link. But rather than bore you with a hyperlink that you're going to forget as soon as we finish this presentation, I'll just show you exactly where it is. If you're on our website, under the products page, right here where this tab is, you click products. In that products tab, on the left, you'll see a study admin link just below ActiLife. If you click on that link, you'll be redirected to a page dedicated to our new study admin system, some information about that system, a little bit of an overview, and then about midway down the page, there is a header that is entitled Study Admin plus ActiLife, and at the bottom, there's a hyperlink. That hyperlink will take you to that presentation, and I highly encourage all of you to take just a moment to review that after today's presentation. It's a great little overview that may enlighten you on some ways that you can use this system to save a lot of money. And I think that that's one of our objectives is to produce a value add for you, our customers, that provides enough value to get you to use this system and save money and have us provide a viable product as well. And so We're not just producing this thing with us in mind, we're producing it with our researchers in mind. And we know that there's a lot of logistical challenges and it's expensive to do a study and funds are tight. And so we have developed this system to help you out. Take a minute to watch that presentation and I think it'll be helpful for you. Again, to review raw versus epic terminology, we use that terminology extensively around the office here because that's our life. We deal with raw and epic level data on a daily basis, but sometimes we forget that that terminology could mean something different to folks who are using our products. And so we try to use it ubiquitously on our products, but just as a review, when I say raw data today, I'm referring to the 30 to 100 hertz samples of accelerometer axes on our devices. So if you own one of our devices and you were to remove the casing and look at that device, you would see a accelerometer on that device. That accelerometer produces a digital output that we then sample and store at a variable rate based on what you choose, what you configure in ActiLife, typically between 30 and 100 hertz. And so that's the raw data that we're talking about. When we talk about epic data, I'm talking about the filtered and summed raw data. So this is essentially the binning, if you will, if you're familiar with the statistical term binning, the binning of this raw data after you have integrated it. And so this is used, as I state here, in most of the actigraphy-based outcomes like calories, cut points, moderate to vigorous physical activity, all of those algorithms that have been developed that are used to consume the data coming out of all of our products that has been produced even since the late 80s has primarily used epic level data. Recently, there's been a large surge in the need for raw data to better understand daily living behaviors, pattern recognition of physical activity, particularly with the interest of the NHANES data, which is about to be released in the near future. They did collect raw data, and so there's a large interest in using this raw data and interpreting it. So today we're going to talk about how can you get that data efficiently. I've got a small graphic that just sort of re-emphasizes what I mean here. The raw data, once it is sampled, filtered, accumulated, then becomes an epic count version. So a much smaller amount of data, a very compressed amount of data compared to the raw data. And so just to give you some context, it becomes obvious when you look at this graph why it's a challenge to get this raw data. It's a large amount of data, collecting 100 hertz data on just a sample of 5 subjects over a period of a week could produce well over 2 or 3 gigabytes of data, depending on activity levels. And so we're talking about a large amount of data here. We've had several webinars concerning our study admin system. We've had a lot of marketing material produced. And so I wanted to just take a minute and review the study admin system for those of you who are new to it or this is the first time you're hearing this terminology. I thought it would be helpful to just cover what it is we're talking about here. So our study admin system is a cloud-based logistics platform. You access the system itself through a web portal. Many of you have used some web-based email like Yahoo or Gmail. You go to a website and you're prompted with a username and password, and that's the way our system works. You, as the study coordinator, have access to that system using a username and password. It's focused on simplifying your device deployments. And it also simplifies multi-site device deployments in particular because of the reduction in the requirements for setup of a device. It really allows you to pre-configure that for all of your sites, manage your sites from one web portal, and just make it a lot easier on your data collectors. You'll notice the mobile application that's indicated on the bottom right. I don't have a bullet for that just yet, but we also provide the option to grab data and push it into that web portal using mobile devices. And so that's another added benefit of this system. Once you log in, you do have a dashboard overview of all of your sites and your subjects in your study. And so if you're running multiple studies, you can have a list of those studies. You can log in and choose the study you want to look at any time. The subject listing up top shows you the progress of each subject, and then the site listing at the bottom shows you a breakdown of all of your sites and some high-level information about those sites. And if you have any problems or issues at those site spots, they're indicated in that list below. So just a handy dashboard. I did mention the mobile uploads. Here's the bullet. So we do handle mobile uploads, 60-second Epoch only, up to the study admin system. So we're talking about Epoch level data coming in over mobile uploads. And for most outcomes, that's sufficient, especially if you're just looking for compliance, general physical activity measures over time. It's more than sufficient. Once data comes into the study admin system, it is immediately available for consumption. So the outcomes that we have built into that system mirror many of the outcomes that we currently provide in ActiLife, including cut points, moderate to vigorous physical activity, wear time, sleep efficiency, calories burned, total activity counts, etc. So today we're going to talk a little more about how study admin ties into ActiLife. And most of you own ActiLife or are working with an institution that owns ActiLife and you have used it yourself. And so we're going to talk today about how you can leverage both of these tools to get raw data from your subjects currently. We have a Studies tab built into ActiLife today, and if you click that Studies tab and log in with your login, you will immediately be brought to a page with a list of all subjects from all sites that you are coordinating. So just to kind of illustrate that is available today with this system. Just keep in mind that you can download this data directly into ActiLife for processing. You can download the AGD, which is 60-second Epoch data. You can do that all today right from within ActiLife. So all that's available now. So as I mentioned, the data that comes in from the device, whether it's coming either through the mobile device into the study admin or directly into the study admin over USB, comes in as 60-second Epoch data. But starting today, raw data can now be retained on the device. So the device itself can be configured to store raw as well as 60-second Epoch data. And that data can be downloaded using ActiLife post hoc. And so what do I mean by that? I had that question earlier. What I mean by that is today, if you set this system up to collect raw data, you would collect the devices at the end of the study and download that raw data directly onto your hard drive. As you'll see later, coming in Q1, we will offer the ability to upload the raw data to the study admin system, thereby bypassing the need to collect the devices and get the raw data after the study is completed. But as of today, this is the option that is available. And we have elected to choose this group, you, who are currently customers of ours, to tell you about this feature in the event that you'd like to try it out on your current study. We've got some promotions that we want to run with you, give you the option to see if this system works for you. And so that's why we're telling you about it today. So I'm going to pause just now for questions. After this, I'm going to talk a little bit more about how to set the study admin up, what process you have to go through to get it ready for your study, and then I'll do a few demos. And so I'm going to pause for just a moment. If you have questions, now's a great time to ask them, and we'll go ahead and move forward in just a moment. I have one question from Melissa. Why is hertz used and not seconds? No reason, Melissa. That's just the terminology we use there. Just easier to mention the sample frequency rather than the time between the samples. But hopefully that answered the question there. Got a question from Christy. What type of devices can you use to upload the data? Great question, Christy. Um, devices with serial numbers beginning with NEO and later, so NEO, MOS, CLE, these are red devices. GT3X based devices, GT3X plus based devices are the ones we're specifically talking about here. So any of those devices dating back to about 2010 will work with this system. And we've got a specific list of those available on our website. And Tom actually had the same question. So GT3X devices will not currently work with this system, GT3X Plus and later. Sophia had a question about cloud security. I'm happy to answer that, Sophia. We have some terminology that can help you with your IRB that explains the cloud technology that we're using, the data transfer, encryption, and encryption at rest techniques that we are using. All of that is available if you need to provide that to your IRB for approval. We're very familiar with that, and we do that quite often with many of our pharma partners. Question from Lorena. She asked, so before today, you would not be able to capture the raw data post hoc. Can you clarify? Yes, that's correct, Lorena. So using the study admin system before today, the data that would come off of the device would only be 60-second data. The raw data would not be available. But beginning today, you do have that option. Okay, I've got a few more questions that I think I probably will answer in the rest of the presentation, so I'm going to press forward. Please keep those coming. I mean, these are great questions, and if you have them, if you think of a question, just go ahead and ask it, and we will certainly do our best to get to it. But please do ask, because when I get to a pause in the presentation, I can look over and get those from you quickly. So let's talk about how to set up a study. What types of things do we need to do to prepare to use the study admin? The study admin system is priced on a per participant and duration a combination of duration and participant architecture. So if you're going to use the device or use 100 subjects for 6 months, then we would price it that way for you. You don't pay for the number of devices that you have using the system. All of that is included in your package. And so I just want to clarify that up front so that it's a little different than maybe what you've seen in the past. But to get that going, you would talk to us about pricing, and then we would work with you on getting a name for your study in the system. We go ahead and name the sites. So if you have multiple sites that you're configuring in multiple locations, we'd get the names of the coordinators for those sites and the names of those sites. Then you would choose a monitor and setting. So which monitor of ours are you going to use? Are you going to use raw and Epoch only data? LED behavior, how do you want the LED to behave? Where location, where is it going to be worn? All these configuration parameters that typically you would be required to train your site on. So if you were using ActiLife in a multi-site configuration scenario, you would have to contact all of these sites, explain to them, hey, we want the LED to flash when it's collecting data, but not when it's in delay mode. And you'd have to explain what delay mode is. All of these are pre-configured in the study admin system by you, the coordinator, so that there are essentially no chance for error in setting a device up. So you'd set those options up. Then we'd work with you on your entry form parameters. So when you're creating a new subject in the system, how do you want to name them? The subject identifier field, what format do you want to use there? Do you want it to be site dependent? In this example, I'm showing 001 is site 1, and so they want the precursor to the subject identifier to always be 001. So that just helps with error reduction as well. Date of birth, what other fields do you want to enter here? Do you want to capture blood pressure? Anything you can think that you may want to capture at this point, we work with you to configure that. Whatever units you wish to use. If you like to use kilograms instead of pounds, That is an option. Date of birth can be configured a different way. So we'd work with you on that. And then we'd set up our study milestones for you. And this is a new concept, excuse me, that is a very, very popular option among our pharma customers. This configuration of milestones allows you to flag each of your subjects with a particular milestone. And why is that important? Well, in this example, I may have a subject that is coming in for their first visit, and I want to mark their milestone as this upload represents visit 1. Well, the next time they come in, I want to mark their next visit as visit 2. Later, whenever I look to compare that subject's data to another subject's data between visit 1 and visit 2, I'll need the milestone context because visit 1 for the first person may be on a different day than visit 1 for the second person. And so having milestones gives you a little bit of date or milestone context around your data and provides a great way for you to flag that at the time of data collection. So these milestones are set up by you, the coordinator, and they're made available to your clinical personnel, the persons who are putting devices on people or other people who are interacting with the subject. Then we work with you to get ActiSync installed on the computers in the field. ActiSync is not like ActiLife. It's a very lightweight application that is simple to install. It installs in just a few seconds. And then we would invite your team. So we've collected their information. We would go ahead and invite your team. So study coordinators, study site coordinators, and research partners are the 3 levels of permission of hierarchy that we have. Study coordinators have visibility over all sites and have entire study level control. Site coordinators have only site level control and can only see subjects at their site. And then research partners, if you've got some partners that you're working with, you want to expose that data, you can do that in a read-only fashion to them. So we go ahead and set those folks up for you, and then you can begin data collection. And so very easy. I mean, this is a less than an hour configuration for us, and then you're off and running. So once the study is set up, how do we deploy devices? How do we set a device up to put on a person? And so I thought it'd be beneficial to just show a quick demo of how to do that. So I have on my computer installed the ActiSync software. It's running down here in my taskbar area. I have a device in my hand, and if I connect that device to this computer, ActiSync will detect its presence and will prompt me. And I essentially only have one option at this point. So ActiSync has detected this serial number. The only option I have is to assign this device to someone. If I click that button, the study admin portal then loads, and I'm brought to this form entry that has been pre-configured for me. And I only have a few options that I can enter here. So my subject identifier, my date of birth, gender, and let's say, put these together. Okay. So once I've completed this form as a clinical coordinator or as an on-site coordinator, I fill this out and click Assign Device to Subject. I get a progress indication, and you can see ActiSync working in the background, initializing the device that's connected. And this device is completed and ready to go. And so I can now disconnect this device and place it on the subject. And that is it for configuring a device for deployment. And so contrast that to ActiLife, which requires many configuration options. And you can see the benefit of sort of having that there and available and easy to do at each site. So that was a pretty straightforward demo. What I'd like to do next is just demo how to get the 60-second Epoch data off of the device using just a standard upload. And so similarly, it's very simple to do. I'll just close the web browser here. So I have a device here that's collecting data, and I'll plug it in and just act like I'm at a site. I'm coming in as a subject for a visit. The site coordinator takes my device and connects it to the computer. And when they do that, as you can see, ActiSync detects that device's presence authenticates and uploads the data directly to the study that it recognizes its association with. And once it completes that upload, it automatically loads my web browser, takes me to that subject's page. This is subject 7 on this particular mock study here. And you can see it's doing some background processing and pushing that data into the database. And I can scroll down and see a lot of information about this subject. As you can see, there's 15 days of data on this device. And that monitor is still collecting data. I haven't stopped it, so it will continue to collect. If I scroll down, I have some anthropometric information about this subject. I also have information about the data range and several other metrics. One interesting feature in this tool that I'd like to point out is the study timeline, which gives me instant access as a study coordinator to information about my data collection. So I know that on 11/19, this device was assigned using the study admin system by this user, and that is me, of course. And so I've got this history broken down by timestamp, and I know exactly where this device has been at all times. And if I'm using mobile uploads, I'll see the uploads come in through here, and I can audit that myself. So we've looked at that, and just to note, we do have options down here to look at the data. I can look at the MVPA on the subject or the daily details. I also have this daily count graph. So this shows total activity counts for each day over the wear time, and it's not very interesting for this particular device. I just initialized it, so left it on my desk for a few days just to be able to show a demo. But what is interesting is how do we look at this data, not only in Study Admin, but also in ActiLife. So I'm used to seeing subjects in ActiLife. How do I get this data back out and into ActiLife and look at it in 60-second epic form? And so I've just loaded ActiLife in the background here. And if I jump to the Studies tab on the right, you can see I've got the list of subjects or studies that I have access to. And so if I pull up this this test raw no init study that I have here, there's subject 7, and you can see that the activity count graph matches the activity count graph that we saw over here for this particular subject. So you can see the comparison there. And so if I want to download this data directly into ActiLife, I can do that by clicking Download AGD, and it will immediately be available for consumption. I can use my own wear time validation algorithm, my own scoring algorithms, and I have access to that data. And so up until today, that is possible today with 60-second epic data. And so that's sort of what I wanted to show with how that particular feature is used. And next we'll look at how to get the raw data off the device. It's very similar or very simple. But for now, I've said a lot, and I want to pause for just a second and see if we do have any questions. And if we do, if I can try to answer some of those now. I had a question from Brian about setting the link up for waist-mounted wear using ActiSync. Using the study admin, yes, Brian, that is possible. It's one of those configuration options that we could set up for you in the system. So if you're setting that device up, we could configure it for waist-worn. We can also give you the option at the site level to choose whether or not they're putting it on the waist or wrist. But typically that's a fixed number or fixed setting at the beginning of the study. Christy asked, does ActiSync work only with the study admin? Yes, that's correct, Christy, it does. That particular application is used to upload data into that study admin system. Okay, so we're getting a couple more questions, so I'm going to go ahead and move on. Again, I think I'll address some of these at the end, but please keep those questions coming. I'm happy to get them. Good questions. So we've looked at how to get your 60-second Epoch data off of the device using upload into Study Admin, download into ActiLife. How do I get my raw data? There's nothing magical about it right now. You simply open ActiLife and connect the device that you have been collecting data with and download that data directly onto your hard drive. And so most of you are familiar with how to do that. And so just to illustrate, um, I'll just set up a download here for this device, which is still connected from my previous upload. And so that data is available uh, right here, and I can get to it and process it in any way that I want. And so some of you are thinking, well, why do I have to get the device? Well, pretty soon that will not be an option, or that will not be necessary. We're working towards making these raw data uploads available at each site level. We're looking at early to mid-January to have that option ready. But we wanted to give you the option to preview this before the end of the year and give you the option to actually use this if it sounds beneficial. I did want to take a moment to mention the API connections to our study admin system. We do provide an externally exposed API. All of our documentation is available on GitHub. Using the API, you can connect directly to your study admin database and download that data that exists there into your own application. You can format it your own custom way. You can create users in the system. So if you're looking to tie in to your application and create users on the fly, you can use the API to do that. You can download Epoch data, as we have done today, or you can download post-processed outcomes. So if you're looking to produce a report or some customized report using MVPA or wear time validation, all of these outcomes that are produced from the Epoch level data, you can pull that directly out into your application over the API as long as you have an authentication key that we would provide to you. So why would you want to use this API? A lot of reasons. It reduces transfer costs. So a lot of times at the end of a study, with the study admin system, you can simply log in and download the data at your centralized site. But a lot of our pharma clients like to use an electronic data capture system. And for them, they're not going to log into the portal and get the data because of privacy issues, FDA concerns. But over the API, you can produce a secure channel and essentially grab that data as it becomes available, thereby reducing your transfer cost and taking a lot of eyes off of that data and just making it transparent directly to the data capture system that you're using. We're working with Medidata to do some of that exact work. So if you're familiar with Medidata or the Rave tool, we are integrated with them using that particular API channel. You can also provide custom reporting, as we talked about. You can also create privatized apps. And so if you're looking to create your own mobile application that takes data in from each of your subjects and provides feedback to them about how they're doing, you can use this API to get that data and provide your own interpretation of it for your own privatized app. So I want to pause again for questions at this point. I'm going to go next into new and upcoming. What do we have that has just come out? What's coming out over the next few weeks and months? And I want to just pause a second and see if we have any more questions up to this point. Christy asked, what format does the raw data come in? And can you export it? So, Christy, that's a great question. Right now, if you download that data into ActiLife, as we did in this example, you'll see that the download comes in the form of a GT3X file, which is our standard raw file format for ActiLife. But in January, once we make this available in the study admin system, bypassing the need to connect to ActiLife to get this data, we will also provide the option to export that data in any format you wish. And so, as you'll see in the next couple of slides that I have, we're going to target MATLAB, we're going to target CSV, we're going to target SAS, We're going to target several platforms and file formats that are really popular. I know the EDF, European Data File Format, is popular as well. So we'll target all of those. But for now, if you have the GT3X file, you can export it using ActiLife into any format you wish. Katie has a question about pricing, and Katie, I'm sorry, it's very custom. The pricing depends on it depends on the number of subjects and the total duration, but I don't have any of that information with me available. I'm so sorry, but we can sure get it to you. I had a question about risk validation for the Link device from Sophia. Sophia, we are just as anxious to see some risk validation and comparative analysis between risk and waste for any of our devices. We're just as anxious as you are. In fact, we're awaiting the release of the NHANES data set, as well as the algorithms that have been developed against that data set, so that we can then provide that to you, the customer, in an easy-to-consume format. But today, those are few and far between. Very hard to find risk validation, especially for physical activity. I'm sorry, for calorie type or MET type energy expenditure. Catherine and Christy both simultaneously ask if it's possible to export to SPSS or XLSX. So thank you both. And as I implied a moment ago, when we get this data into the study admin system, you will be able to export to those file formats as well. But today, you can go out from GT3X to CSV to Excel, and I think you'd have to convert for SPSS. I don't believe we have a direct export for that, but we do plan to support it. It's very popular. We do plan to support it in the study admin system very, very soon. Thank you. Thank you for those questions. I'm going to jump back to the presentation just to cover a couple of new things that we have coming out. We've just released our new ActiGraph Link device, and as the banner says here, it is our most advanced monitor ever. This device does have a display, and that provides a lot of exciting opportunities for us and for you, the customer. It does have a wear sensor built into it, so the device itself can detect when it is being worn and when it is not being worn, and that is a wrist-only feature right now. We're working to make that compatible with the waist, but it's not quite there yet. It does have built-in wireless Bluetooth Smart or Bluetooth LE, which provides us some options to connect to heart straps, perform mobile uploads, and the like. But most exciting for me is the fact that this device is a 9-degree of freedom device, providing a gyroscope, magnetometer, and dual accelerometers built into the device directly, which is going to provide for our research customers a lot more options and a lot more features to pull from when developing these free living algorithms. And so we're excited about that. And you'll note that we do offer that dual accelerometer with a plus or minus 16G range. The 8G range is our nominal accelerometer, which is we have used to validate against our previous devices as always. And so those options are available in that product at a great price. Excuse me. I did want to also mention the cradles. We've had many requests for help us connect this to the computer in an easier way. We have done that with this device, providing a cradle to just drop the device into, and a 6-up cradle that allows you to connect up to 6 devices for simultaneous charging and upload. Coming in Q1 of 2015, our mobile application currently today supports uploads, but we'll also provide mobile notifications to remind users automatically that they need to upload daily. If we don't see data coming in from them every 24 hours, it will automatically notify them, and we'll make that configurable to be 24 or 48. So we'll also enable you, the researcher, the option to provide push notifications and messaging to those subjects to notify them about protocol changes or clinic closures. And coming late Q1 2015, we'll close the loop and allow two-way communication, allowing you to receive notifications from subjects, just noting that, hey, they did receive your confirmation and that they are indeed compliant with that. And so lots of requests for that option to be able to communicate in two ways with the subject while they're collecting that data. Raw data uploads is high on our priority list, and so today you do have to have the device in hand to get the raw data. Coming in Q1, that data will automatically be uploaded to the study admin system, and as you can imagine, there are some logistical challenges with that data because of the magnitude and size of it. And so we're working through some techniques to solve that problem in low bandwidth sites. And so that data will then be available, and as I've mentioned here in this bullet, exportable to a number of formats, and SPSS being one of those. And so this is our last slide, but it's a promotion offer for anyone who wants to sign up before the end of the year to give our system a try. As I mentioned, it is duration and participant-based pricing. So in this example, 100 subjects for 6 months. You might have a pricing structure for that. But if you mention this webinar before the end of the year, we'll double that duration if you're purchasing before the end of the year, give you an opportunity to play with it and try it out essentially for free, and give you the opportunity to learn if it's going to work for your particular application or not. So we'd love to contact you about that. In fact, when you finish this webinar and you close out, you'll see that there's a short survey. We'd like to ask you to take that survey and fill it out. And it really helps us to hone in for our next webinar, and also gives us an opportunity to communicate back to you if you have questions or if you're interested in trying out the system. You can let us know in that webinar to help us out, or in that survey. It would help us out greatly. So thank you for your time today. I do appreciate it. If there's any more questions, I'll hang out for just a couple of minutes and address those, and see if we can answer some of those questions. And if I don't know the answer, I'll sure have someone contact you that does know the answer. Denise referred to a question that I overlooked. I'm sorry, Denise. She asked, how long does it usually take for your company to clear security issues with companies' IRBs? Denise, I don't have any statistics on that, and I don't really know of any hangups that we have had with that would cause that to be a problem. And maybe I'm just not privy to that process in your particular institution. But if you can contact me after the webinar, I'm happy to address that and maybe speak also with our quality team and see if they can help me with that answer. The question about the GT3X uploading, the study admin system and mobile uploads are only supported by GT3X Plus devices. And in fact, mobile uploads are only supported by the latest device, the Link device, as well as the most recent previous device, which would be the WGT3X BT device, which came out last year. Chloe's asking if the wrist detection would show up in the sleep tab as a different color. Chloe, we're actually working on that now. It's not integrated in ActiLife just yet. Danielle's asking whether or not this would be recommended for a researcher using ActiLife only within a lab setting. That is, participants will be wearing the devices, will not be wearing the devices home or anywhere outside the lab. Danielle, I think that would really depend on how many subjects you're talking about, because the study admin system is really meant to be a device inventory and management logistics system. And so if you're turning a lot of devices through your lab, it would be a great tool just to keep track of each subject, because you can have an immense amount of metadata on top of your regular data in a subject, in a study like that. Denise asked if there's a minimum amount of subjects. No, there's no minimum. required for using the study admin system. Christy's asking if we plan to include a heart rate. Our device already does integrate with polar heart straps, and so we do include that option as well. Christy's also asking about the GT3X. So mobile uploads will not work with GT3X devices. Will only work with WGT3X BT and Link devices. And Tom, I think I'm confirming with you, yes, that GT3X devices will not work either with mobile or with the study admin just in a normal fashion. You'll need to upgrade to at least a plus level device. Katie asked a great question. Can you use the same ActiGraph device for multiple subjects once each person is finished with the study? Yes, you can, Katie. In fact, with the study admin system, we offer leasing. And so if you have 100 subjects, but you're only going to recruit 5 at a time, we can lease you, 10 devices, and you can rotate those devices for each subject. You don't have to reuse the same one for each subject. Christy, Link devices, I believe, are $275 right now. I need to look at the website. Yes, indeed, $275. We thank you all so much for your time. I appreciate your patience with my voice today as I struggle to finish my sentences. I'm in the middle of losing my voice here, so thank you for your patience with that. Thank you for spending some time with us. And if I missed your question, I'm so sorry. We'll do our best to go back through these and make sure we got them all. But if you have any more questions, please let us know. And please take a minute to fill out that survey after we finish today. It'll help us out a big bunch. Thanks and take care and have a great weekend and Christmas season.